There's no Muslim ban. There's no Muslim ban. There is no Islamic ban. There is no ban based on religion, and you know that. You know that. Everybody knows that. You're supposed to know that. Why can't people get the facts right? Why can't people understand, especially these individuals who fancy themselves, I guess, the Hollywood types, and that, God, for whatever this SAG award, I'm so goddamn tired of award shows. Seriously, I am so tired of award shows to begin with. I mean, how many of these are there? Directors Guild, SAG Award, Golden Globes, Academy Awards, this and that, Eddie's, the Rotten Tomatoes Award. I mean, this is ridiculous. But if you're going to come up, look, say you don't like Trump, it's okay. Join together. I don't care. I hate these people who say that the left or that, Hollywood or the music industry or whatever shouldn't have an opinion. That's nonsense, because nobody minded. The right didn't mind when Charlton Heston was doing it, or it was Ronald Reagan or any of those other people, or when Chuck Norris or Schwarzenegger or whatever. That's fine. So it's intellectually inconsistent for them to say that they don't like people in show business to opine. No, they don't like when people in show business say the wrong things. That's what it's about. But if you're going to argue, get the facts right. There's a lot you could be saying about Trump. Believe me, I've been talking to you about this for the longest time. He's wrong on torture. Absolutely wrong. Wrong on suggesting that he and his administration would not challenge or audit the Fed. Hell, they should nationalize the Fed. I don't understand. I just don't get it. They're also insane if they're talking about not funding medical research. Oh my God. But so there's a lot we can talk about, but I'm not going to be a part of this blinding, seething rage, this frothing, frenetic frisson, this nuts atmosphere. There's no ban on Islam. No ban on Muslims. None. Repeat after me. There's no ban on Muslims. Now, the facts are here. I put a very, very good, Jacobson writes a terrific kind of an overview of this. But to go over with a few things, I have my particular notes. I want to bring this up to you. And I don't have I don't have this. This is not pro-Trump. Like I said, before I even get to Trump, I'm too busy always correcting you. I'm already saying, no, that's not it. No, that's not what happened. No, that's not it. Get it right, and then we'll talk about the issue of immigration and the like. Trump said he was doing this and campaigned on it and said it from the beginning. This is what got him elected by a lot of people. Okay? So he's not just being a jerk now. He campaigned on this. There are Americans who want this. Does that mean anything to you? Maybe not. Just because a bunch of people want something doesn't make it right. A lot of people wanted, terrible things, internment and the like, and that was wrong in slavery. I understand the tyranny of the majority. I dig all that. But point number one is he's not springing this on you. There are people who would have held him accountable if he didn't do this. So let me just say this again. He ran on this, and people like this. Okay? Next. The order bars, I'm reading very carefully. The borders are all people hailing from Iraq, Syria, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. Those countries. They didn't say those Muslims from those countries or Muslims. No, it never came up. It's those countries. Why? Do I have to tell you why? Do I really have to tell you why? Tell me. Don't make me tell you why those countries were picked out. Well, guess what happened? The countries were named in a 2016 law concerning, quote, immigration visas as, quote, countries of concern during Obama. Does that mean anything to you? Does it? I'm not going to be one of these people who says, well, Obama did it. Obama did it. Look, if it's wrong, it's wrong. But the point is, where the hell was Julia Louis-Dreyfus, or who was the one? What's her name? Who was the honey? Who was the Ashton Kutcher. No, but the klepto. What was her name? The klepto. Winona Ryder. Not Winona Ryder. What did she try? Did she call her agent and say, "Look, I'm gonna be a meme. I'm gonna make a lot of faces." I guess. So I mean, look, say what you want, but get the facts straight. Why didn't you say something when Obama was doing it? I know why. But don't you think it makes sense to you? Don't you think if you're intellectually against something, if you're intellectually, idealistically, philosophically against something, don't you think you would say this no matter who was president? Okay. So you got this, 2016, his idea. It's a continuation of that. Next point. The notion of these countries banning Muslims implies, again, that the target was the faith. It was not the faith. That's not it. The faith is an element of that. When people were targeting the mob, when people are targeting the mafia, when people were targeting IRA during the Troubles, when you're looking for a group, they will have characteristics, parts of them. The mob happened to have this pesky Sicilian connection, which didn't mean that all Sicilians were in the mob, and you know that, and I don't have to explain this to you. It's axiomatic. You know that, though, right? Tell me you do. I know Julia Louis-Dreyfus, the billionaire, doesn't care about this, or Ashton Kutcher, or Winona, whoever these people are, I don't know. All right, now, next. The top 5 Muslim countries, the top, that have the largest, when you talk Muslim countries, the largest populations in terms of percentage of the country, but also the actual raw number, they're not included in this. I don't think that's important. Now, stop for a second. Stop. If you want to go after Muslims, don't you think you say, give me the top 5 countries with more Muslims. I want this number versus a smaller number spread out on 7 countries that don't even have the same number of Muslims as the top 5. Doesn't that make sense to you? Makes sense to me, if that's what you want. If that's what you're after. You see? You know this. I know you know this. I know you're aware of this. I know you are. I know you're smart. And I know you understand this. So stop saying it's a Muslim ban. You make yourself look foolish. All right, next. Who are the top 5 countries? Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Nigeria. Did you know that? Think about that one. I was trying to do an acronym. IPIBN. I like acronyms. I can do that for kind of like little, sometimes a mnemonic might help for memorization. But anyway, Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and Nigeria. The list of terror-linked countries, were created, of course, during the Obama administration. But he gets a pass because he lulled you into this sense of, I don't know what it was, complacency, torpor, somnambulism, I don't know. Some kind of an intellectual, anesthetic. He didn't even care what was going on. Now all of a sudden you're paying attention. Okay, good. Now, in 2011, Obama, Barry, your boyfriend, Barry, decided to ban all Iraqi refugees for 6 months. All of them based on a country, okay, not Muslim, based on a country, because there are Catholics and others as well. By the way, Tariq Aziz was a Catholic. This is Saddam's number 2 guy. Remember that one? Okay. 2011, 6 months versus 3 months. 90 days for Obama. Longer, not a word. Not a word, because you were so in love. You're like that first stage of the dating. Oh, isn't she wonderful? Isn't he wonderful? He's a drunk. I know, but I love, that kind of a goofy OCD thing. That's what you're in, apparently. This guy did such a number on you. I mean, my God, you just love him. To the point where you don't even listen to what he did. I mean, it's like, your Dr. So-and-so cut off the wrong leg. I know, but he's so nice. Okay, next. During the Obama 8 years, citing the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1952 and citing Section 212, he also did it 6 times without any Julia Louis Dreyfus, Winona, Kutcher, and these other, I don't know who these other people are, but never said a word. Okay, you got my point. Okay, then this is the best part. My nose is running. I'm so sorry. Then you're gonna love this. Then during 8 years of Obama, thank you, honey. This is terrible. I'm blowing my nose. I'm not using the sleeve. I'm using the hand. Remember Catholic schools, how the nuns always had these down there? They would like pull these like first aid kits out, daggers, and anyway. During 8 years, he bombed. He was at war, the Nobel Prize winner, every day for 8 years. Every day of his administration. Does that mean anything to you? Did you ever think that maybe you might want to say something about it? Maybe you want to, ever? Doesn't it just amazing? No, not a word, nothing. Blasted the hell out of these people. Okay, even better. Then Obama, through WikiLeaks and through Hillary's testimony, we find out that basically they were arming the jihadists, and I know that term is used correctly, but we're going to use that for shortcut purposes, kind of labeling. They basically arm them in Syria and create the very problem that we're talking about now. Nobody brings that up. Okay, I understand this. Then it gets even better. Okay, then Trump's 50,000 per year limit actually is on par with and better than his predecessors. Actually better than, because nobody's going to be researching this. I didn't know about this until we started researching, and then until people said, wait a minute, let's look at what he did. Better yet, and I should have said this right from the beginning, but I didn't. Read the executive order. Read what he says. If ever you are charged with a crime, or maybe speeding, or anything that you are charged with, read the statute. Find out specifically what it was that you were alleged to have done. Read it. And before you bitch and moan about Obama, read the executive order. I know it's online. You never read the PDDs. You never read all of the executive orders in the part of Obama. You never did this. Never once. You never did this. I know you didn't. PDDs, what's that? You don't know, do you? Because he got a pass from you. Because you were in love with him. It was weird. It's like a fetish. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I know people like Reagan, but I mean, this is, whoa. Okay. Next. Obama armed still. Oh. You want to bitch with Trump? Here's one for you. I'm with you 100% on this one. Where's Saudi Arabia on the list? These are sponsors of Wahhabism, the Wahhabist, and the Wahhabis. This is the lunacy contingent of radical Islam, or whatever you want to call it. Why weren't they put on this? As somebody said, and I love these people, they make me sick. It's because Trump's got business dealings with it. No, we've got business dealings with it. It's got oil. We're in bed with those people. These people they're horrible. So I'm with you. Hey, Julia Louis. Hey, Winona. Hey, Ashton. While you're up there, if you want to take this moment out of this award ceremony, and why you're doing that, I have no idea. Imagine Rick Steves from, hi, I'm Rick Steves. I'm going to Europe, on PBS. What if he stopped and said, and I want to talk about, contraception laws. What? What are you doing? Hi, I'm Dick Vitale. Before we talk about this, I'm going to talk about genital mutilation in sub-Saharan. Okay. But you would think that we could say, hey, I'm with you on this one. Let's pick a good one. Saudi Arabia. No, they don't know that. because they haven't read this. They're handing out the bumper sticker and they're just reading it for the first time. Oh, is this the theme, guys? Yeah. He hates Muslims. Okay, all right. And we got to bring up what? Jewish? The Holocaust? Okay, fine. All of a sudden, it's amazing how these people have such affinity for the Holocaust now, and Jews, and doesn't matter when Jews are getting blown up. Oh no, it didn't matter. When you got into anything that was done by, whether it's Fatah, Hamas, Hezbollah, nobody cared about that then. But now that it's Trump, all of a sudden, what a friend we have in Israel. Okay, fine, I got it. But we were, and through Obama, donating $1 billion to Saudi Arabia, and they're blasting to smithereens innocent Yemenis. How does that happen? How? Why aren't you mentioning that? That's a Muslim country. Those are Muslims. You want to talk about that? Why? And I know why. I'm being rhetorical. Because you don't know anything about the issue. You're a Hollywood type. You're up there because you think, I don't know, this is fun. Hey, it's like your climate change business. You don't know anything about that. You're kind of told, kind of like the Cliff's Notes version of this, and that's kind of what you believe in. Okay, fine. Chuck Schumer crying. Can you believe this guy? Can you believe the cojones that this man has? They're elephantine huevos. We're talking huge orbs this man has. You're crying over this? I'm supposed to believe all of a sudden you who blasted and blew to smithereens Libya, that was okay. You didn't mind that one, but this all of a sudden, oh, now you're upset. Okay, is that it? Am I supposed to believe that? Why? Because I know why. I mean, it's like an open audition. It's like a cattle call for who can produce the most, not only unnecessary, but the most ill-conceived and unresearched schmaltz bar none. Okay, next. Athletes, actors. There are sections of the executive order, which of course nobody read, that deals with that. In 2015, the San Bernardino attacks, 14 Americans were killed. There were others, example, were, quote, vetted. People they turned out to be terrorists. That's the problem, is what is this vetting process? And he needs 90 days. Look, whether he like it or not, maybe that's you want to argue this too long? Go ahead. That's all right. But get the facts straight. Know what you're arguing. Have a cogent point. Don't just stand there and say, whatever Julia said, I'm with her 100%. Whatever the hell it is. Okay. There are many people who say, we do not want to be, and we will never be Europe. We are not going to have hordes and throngs and waves of folks from wherever pulling a Calais on us. That ain't going to happen. And how the Pope, it's like, would you please? I'm really trying. I know you're the Pope. I know you got to say Pope stuff. But why don't you do this? Why don't you take, one wing, melt down all the gold, and build a permanent settlement, or whatever you want to call it, for all of the people. Kind of like a Ronald McDonald House for people in transit. All right? But that's not going to happen. Now, all of a sudden, people, as I said, now they're Israel crazy. Well, this is like the Jews. Oh, this is a Holocaust. You're friendly now with the concept of Israel, right? Because up till now it was, because it was Palestinian. That's it. I don't want to hear anything about Israel. It's a very complicated issue, but you know and I know that you in particular never had anything to do with it. Now you feel this sentience. Now you have this connectivity, this connectedness to Israel. How about the fact that there were 16 Islamic countries that banned Israel from entering merely because it's Israel, because they're Jewish, not because it's one country, Israel, Jews, That's it. That's it. Nobody complained then. 16 countries. Now, I don't know. I don't think a lot of Jewish or Israelis are upset that they're not going to be able to go to Saudi Arabia or wherever it is. But are you kidding me? Seriously, all of a sudden you're concerned. Of course you're not. Because you were handed this. All of a sudden you're concerned about this. Okay, fine. We also have, speaking of Saudi Arabia, they have, 300,000 of these air-conditioned, these tents that never were used. It would have been wonderful what you could have done for these people. These brilliant, brand new, I don't know what they are, not pods, not trailers, not whatever, but 300,000, nothing. Nobody ever used them. Nobody brings them up. Next. When you since you're so into religion, obviously religious persecution, what were the Jews and the Holocaust and Muslims and Islam? What about Christians who were beheaded, slaughtered, women? Hey, women! Hey, you with your women's march! Hey, you with your foam vagina hats or whatever the hell you're wearing. What about women who were killed at acid attacks and honor killings and women who are stoned in Islamic countries because they're raped? Does this ever enter this? You do know that, right? I mean, you do. I know you must have researched this. You can't miss this. Gay people. Hey, Hollywood. Hey, SAG. Hey, whatever. And I know you have an affinity for gay people. I know that, as you should. You should have an affinity for all people. But what about gay people, men who were thrown off of buildings? What about that? Why does it never enter your frame of reference? Why does it never enter your intellectual perspective wheelhouse? I don't get it. Why don't you ever talk about how Soros is behind this? Go back to Soros. You want to talk about the Nazis? You want to talk about being sold out to the Nazis? Read his story. Go back. Do some research. It's right there on the Google. What you're about is very simply this. You want to stop Trump and not terrorism. That's it. Plain and simple. Your job is to stop Trump. You've got, there's a word. You could say, you have an obsession. You're focused. You know what it's called, to use American parlance? You have a hard-on for him. That's precisely what it is. It's this unnatural fixation. Not to mention, it is becoming a part of a de rigueur kind of a, hey, this is great. I'm gonna just, it's my new thing. I'm anti-Trump. I remember when people were writing on their hands because it was cool. People take their little yoga mats because it's cool. People were doing their chai lattes because it's cool. People were climate change because it's cool. People were doing a lot of stuff. Look at tattooing. Tattooing took off overnight because somebody said that destroying your neck with ink somehow imparts, and it should be your right to do so. It's expression. Absolutely. First Amendment guaranteed. But this is what you do. You will do anything to be cool. Anything, including looking like David Allan Coe. You'll do that because you have no soul. You have no heart. You have no backbone. You have no guts. You have no anything. You're an empty vessel. You don't know anything about facts, anything about history. And it has become now a combination of, and I keep talking about this, mob mentality, herd mentality, mob psychology, Le Bon and Kierkegaard, and Nietzsche, and everybody talked about this, Bernays, public relations, propaganda, you name it. It is now a subject that brings you together, that allows you to share an allegiance with your fellow compatriots by having this absolutely unhealthy fixation and this OCD targeted obsession with all that is Trump. You don't know anything about the facts because it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter. All you have to have is hate. You don't have to know anything about anything. climate change was the best. You, in part of your wheelhouse, your script, you have to say, quote, "It is now without question that all major scientists recognize that global warming and climate change has occurred." It's without exception. It is without exception. That is it. No, but there is no question. It is science. It is also without question and science that there is nothing phony baloney about 9/11. NIST has ruled. And it's the government, National Institute of Standards and Technology, and they said that it was melted steel and that's it, and move on to the doggy. There is no connection between vaccines and any kind of spectrum disorders because the CDC has spoken. Absolutely. We were also told, you want me to keep going through the list of this stuff? I'm going to keep going through the list of how governmental entities, without exception. Do you want me to go through and explain to you what it's like to repeat and to rechant the mantra over and over when it gets its own kind of weight and its own heft and its own momentum? You want to do that? We can do it if you like. We can do it. We can repeat this stuff over and over. And as long as you remain in your insular world among like-minded fellow travelers, you're going to be applauded and patted on the back and given a way to go. That's the spirit. By regurgitating, by basically coughing up and spitting out this nonsense, this absolute nonsense. Now, let me go back to this. This is not about left and right. This is not about any of that. It's not left and right. It's right or wrong. And if you want to use words like liberal and progressive and you think that that has somehow substituted or that has replaced being anti-Trump, if you want to besmirch the history, the progressive history of this country, you want to go back post-World War I. If you want to go back to what your progressive forebears did, including members of the Communist Party and labor unions, those people who really stood for something. If you want to compare yourself with how people protested the Vietnam War, got their skulls cracked, the same thing with the civil rights movement. If you want to compare your little hissy fits and your little ridiculous, foam rubber pussy hats or whatever the hell you do, if you honestly think that is what being a liberal and a progressive is, you are so beyond help, it's not even funny. And I want you to understand something. You're killing your cause. You are killing your cause. What do I mean? When you want to make changes, the first thing you want to do is you want people around the world to agree with you. You want people to agree with you and to say, you know what, this guy's makes a hell of a point. This guy makes a lot of sense. This guy, I like what he's saying and I like what they're talking about. I like, this is good. This is terrific. I like them. I never knew that. That's the way you win people over. And what does that imply? What does that involve? What does that include? Knowing the facts. And if you want to go in here and you want to start off saying, no, you don't understand. This is my kata. This is my routine. This is my scripted reaction. I'm a 20-something or 30-something or whatever it is. I'm an actress. I'm an Upper West Sider. I'm a whatever it is. And this is my spew. This is my story. I got to stick to this because you don't understand. I enjoy acceptance from friends of mine. My Facebook friends, my compatriots, my workers, my coworkers, my classmates, my neighbors, whatever, we all talk about this. I was talking to somebody the other day who was so clueless and otherwise not a dumb person, but saying, you don't understand, Trump is going to be impeached. And I said, look, get it right. If you don't like him, I understand it. I just gave you a number of things I am against that he is ostensibly for. But impeachment, you mean conviction. Because impeachment is not going to remove him. That's the charging portion of the charging document, if you will, articles of impeachment. And you're not going to get that with a majority of Republicans in the House. It's not going to get to the Senate. And even if it got to the Senate, you're not going to get... He had no idea, because in his little circle, his friends, his compatriots, his fellow travelers, his acolytes and fellow apostles, all said that. And when I challenged him, he had no idea. Now, you can dismiss this as conservative, liberal, whatever it is. It's up to you. I've heard it all. Believe me when I tell you this. I've heard it all. You're not the first one to come up with this. If you want to go after Trump and you really want to remove him, the first thing you have to do is know what the hell you're talking about. And let me just leave you with this. This is not a ban on Muslims. This is not a Muslim ban. Care more about getting rid of terrorism than you do getting rid of Trump. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and now you may comment as you see fit.